Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Spooky Queen. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be diving into the 6 Tanglewood Drive rework. I'm so excited. This map is absolutely beautiful. I was a little hesitant at first to get into the game, but I did a little bit of a live stream this morning, walked through the house, did a couple of games, and I love it. I really don't have many issues, but I am going to dive in. I have a custom game ready to go. This is on Friendly Ghost. I have all the cursed objects available, and we're just going to walk through the house, go in depth about it, and yeah, let's just get right into it. Okay, so first off, you can see here, this is the badge that you get. You get this if you tune into a Kinetic Partners stream and watch 2+ hours, and you will get this badge. I played a couple of games this morning, like I said, so we have a new thing on our event board. This is the Entangled Terror. So Tanglewood was vacated long ago, but something still lurks within. Can you deal with the new residents? So you have to correctly identify ghosts and survive 50 times to get the new ID card and badge, which I'm super excited to get. So we are looking here at the new photo, front door, little screenshot right there of the front. Looks amazing. So let's just get right into it. Like I said, I created a custom game where the friendly ghost is on, so we can walk through the house, mess with a couple of things, and look at what we are getting into. All right, so we are just going to grab a flashlight and we're going to go in and take a look at everything that is in the house. I have the weather set on clear, or no, sorry, not clear, sunrise, and we can see it's a nice neighborhood. It is a little dark. I wish we could see some of these houses in the back. Um, but yeah, overall, it's beautiful. It's more clear. It just looks more clean and crisp. The sounds and the ambiance of the house is immaculate. There are little sounds that we haven't seen or heard before. Um, I'm super stoked about this map. All right, so here is the front of the house. Not much has changed. Obviously, it's going to look a little bit different. A lot of foliage. Here we have our little gnome friend. He is super cute. You can pick him up and interact with him. So again, here is the front of the house. Amazing. All right, if you notice the door, it used to open from like left, or the doorknob was on the left. Now it is on the right. Can you hear that? Listen to the door open. It's amazing. All right, when we walk in, here is the front of the house. So there is no lamp on this table anymore, as you can see. So our light switch for this house is going to be right behind us. And here is our hallway. Very cozy, very grandma-like. All right, on this table, we have some dog pictures. Our car key is still here in the front. Pick that up. None of... Okay, Ghost is already messing with us. Friendly Ghost is on, like I said. None of these drawers open, unfortunately. I think that this is supposed to be a mirror, but I'm not 100% sure. That's what I'm guessing. Here we have our little notebook. We have a pencil, and you can interact with the pencil, the notebook, the Hantu Herald, and both dog photos. Now, I'm going to mess with a lot of these objects, so if the house gets messy, you'll have to excuse that. Here we have a phone with a specific date on it, July 26th. I wonder if maybe that's a date for the next update, possibly. I don't know, we'll have to see. But if you click on this, we have button sounds. And then if you brush against a plant, it will make a like rustling sound. So I thought that was pretty cool. We have some pictures right here that the ghost can knock off. Now in the hallway here, you used to have like a candle that you could light. This candle does not light. So we are SOL on that one. Our light switch used to be here on the right side as you walk in, and now it is on the left. So here is our hallway. Our closet is no longer to the right of the dresser where it used to be. And again, you can only mess with the pine cones. I believe you cannot mess with anything else right here. Oh, sorry, the candle too. Again, you cannot mess with these drawers. And then, fun fact, the crucifix can turn upside down and you can now record it, which is pretty awesome. So we're just going to go around and go through this room. So this was I guess you could say maybe a boy's bedroom. It is no longer a boy's bedroom. We're going to come in here, turn our light on, and it is now like a little, like, crafty puzzle room. So we have some photos here. This and a little duck. I love the sound of the doors. It just sounds more realistic, which I really like. We have, dog photo, which you can mess with. The cup, you can mess with. You can't mess with the plate. Can't open the drawers. Here is our lamp, which makes the ambiance so amazing. I love that. You have this little puzzle board here. You cannot mess with the tiles, the puzzle pieces at all, which is unfortunate. You can mess with the pillow. Here is our closet, which you can now come in and close the doors, and you can see inside or outside. So if the ghost's path comes this way, you can potentially watch it blink and maybe see if it's an Oni phantom. So that is pretty neat. We have our cute little granny curtains, flowers on them. We have this picture, pine cone, all this little stuff you can mess with right here, which is pretty cool. Tissue box, candle, the fan. It now moves back and forth, which is pretty cool. You cannot mess with this stuff right here. There's puzzles right here. Can't mess with those. We have a record player, which is pretty cool. You can turn that off and on. You can mess with this stuff here. And then, let's see. You cannot mess with anything here. Oh, wait. Did I pick something up? Thought I picked something up. Anyway, you cannot mess with the yarn balls here, but you can pick up this thread. So we can pick up some thread, which I find pretty cool. So this is our first room. Pretty neat. Really enjoy that. All right. Now, this door right here is still the bathroom, which is great. Hush. Anyway, the door does not open the same direction anymore. Now it opens this way. So when we come in here, our light is right here. Again, another cozy grandma bathroom. So we have our mirror. There's some stuff on the counter that we can mess with. We can turn the sinks on, which is pretty cool. So now we get a shitty booty poop sink. These don't open. We can mess with the newspaper and both toilet papers. The toilet seat now opens and closes, and when you flush it, you can actually see the water on the inside, which is really neat. You can mess with the little spray here. The shower, Yeah, okay. The shower turns on and off, which is nice. I wish they would move this curtain. I wish you could move it because I'm not sure if you can pick up. Oh, okay, yes, you can pick up the shampoo and stuff. There's a little bar of soap in here. And then, oh, you can mess with the loofah as well. Again, these don't open. You can mess with the, what is this, like men's lotion maybe? Shampoo, the candle, and the brush. Can't mess with that towel. So yes, this is the, wait, can you mess with these? No. Okay, I thought you could mess with the blinds, but you cannot, looks like. All right, so that was our bathroom. Now we are going to go into what used to be the nursery. It is no longer a nursery. It is Nancy's toddler room. And you can see here, Nancy is engraved on the wood on the bed, which is super cool. Okay, we're going to, let's start here. All right, so we have this picture. This picture is pretty repetitive, so I think they love their dog. So we have this that you can move. You cannot move the drawers. If we come right here, you can turn on Nancy's little night light. Looks like this. Amazing. So the music box used to be in Nancy's room. It is no longer in Nancy's room. You now have the voodoo doll. So the voodoo doll will be right by this little cutie, and this is where he resides. So put him up here. All right, you have a glass and the book that you can mess with. There's a doll, which you can... I thought I heard something. You cannot mess with the doll. We have a rocking horse, which does move if the ghost interacts with it. That's pretty cool. We have some books that we can mess with. Every single one of these books on this shelf, you can mess with. All of them. All of these. You can mess with the little bear. You can't mess with the board games, it looks like, or the boxes, and then you have this little toy here. No. Are you not going to make a sound? There we go. Okay, so that moves. All of these little blocks right here you can move, which is super fun. You have this little box right here. All of these pieces can be moved, which is super fun. Okay. And then here on Nancy's dollhouse, the light turns on and off. And if the ghost touches the dollhouse, you can see it with UV, which is pretty cool. Well, if UV is present. And then you have this cabinet here. You can move this guy. And this is kind of a hiding spot unless the ghost paths this way. But yeah, here's a little spot where you can hide. So that's Nancy's room. And then we have a closet right here, which again, you can come in here and hide, which is nice. On here, you can't mess with anything, and you cannot open the drawers as well. So now we're going to be moving on down the hallway. You can't mess with any of this stuff. Can't mess with the cane. Here is another closet. So we still have a closet in the hallway, which is nice. And then here is our next cursed object. So again, it's kept the same. This one is in the hallway next to the master bedroom. And then now they have added this little shelf. Excuse me. So we have like this urn. I bet you grandma's in there. So we have the urn that we can mess with. And then that is it for the shelf and the candle. So that's all that you can mess with right here. Now we're going to go into the master bedroom. This is our master bedroom. Beautiful. Very cozy. We have these lamps that turn on. So the vibes in here are exquisite, which is nice. So a lot of stuff was kept the same. Like placement wise, it was just widened, made to look a little more cozy, which is nice. So we have another picture. And then this stuff in the drawers you cannot mess with. You can mess with the pine cone. You cannot mess with anything up here or open the drawers. And you can mess with the hat. For here, you can move the shoes, the glass, the pillow, and then we have a dog toy. The only thing that I did not like is the fact that if you walk into the dog bed, you're stuck. You can't walk out of it or walk over it. You have to just simply walk in and out. I think I hear water running. Possibly. And then the only thing on here you can mess with is the photos and the candle. So to the left, we have our bathroom, like OG. And then the closet, we're going to go into the bathroom first. This time we have a closet in the bathroom, which is nice. Very nice. Our shower turns off and on. We have our sink. We can pick up the makeup and the brushes. This little thing, we can turn the water off and on. Our soap, you cannot mess with the plant. Now, the game or the map itself has been a little buggy. If you can see here, we have some glowing objects like we do in Bleasdale, but I'm sure that will get fixed eventually. So we have our shampoo and toilet paper that we can move, our toilet seat, and our flushing toilet. So that's it for the bathroom. When we come in here, in the closet, we now have a cursed item in here, which is going to be our music box sitting right here. So the closet is a little shorter, like lengthwise, but there's more in here. Can't touch anything in here except this and the shoes. So that's all we can touch in here. No drawers, no safe. So that is the closet for the master bedroom. All right, now when we come out here, this is going to be our living room. So here it is. Again, you can hear the plant. We have this that we can mess with. We can't touch any of these books. The candle and the pictures. We can move, well, not the big picture, but the little picture we can move. And then our TV, which I will touch the remote. Our TV. And we have a VCR, which makes noise. We've got a couple of dog toys that can be messed with, which is nice. Again, you cannot walk out of the dog bed from the side. And then there's a couple of more things that you can throw. Obviously, they had to give us the tin of cookies, which probably houses sewing supplies. So, looked like that book was glowing. Maybe. Okay. The pillow we can move. We cannot touch the cane. We have our tarot cards still in the living room. It's going to house, or it's going to, I don't know why I said it's going to house. It's going to sit here on the table next to the phone. Again, we have the date, July 26th, and the buttons. This does not open. I haven't witnessed this, but I have heard that the ghosts can now leave fingies on the TV remote, which is pretty cool. All right. Okay. It's very top heavy, I guess. All right. Our tissue box, our cup, our little conch, candle, glass. Those are the only things that we can move, obviously, besides the cushions. Can't move the blanket. So this is our living room. Pretty cool. All right. Looks like it turned on the light for the, what's that called? A kitchen. It's called a kitchen. But we're just gonna go around, I think. So next we're gonna go into our laundry room. All right. Okay. In our laundry room, I think it looks bigger. A lot of people are saying it doesn't look that much bigger. I think it is. So, I mean, whatever. It's nice. Um, you can interact with the Tide Pods and just about everything on here you can mess with. The only thing is that you cannot turn the water on in here, which is a little bit unfortunate. But all the items in here can move. These do not open, but I know these do. The washing machine does not open. The drawer doesn't open. The vacuum makes a noise, which is nice. And then our little iron here makes noise as well. When you turn the breaker off and on, you're gonna hear like a hissing noise, and people thinks that it's the ghost, like shushing them or something, but it's just this turning on. Also, we have a new little jingle. So the dryer actually sings or plays a tune. Any day now. Yeah. Okay. Plays a little tune for us. So that's all the stuff in the laundry room. You can't pick up the broom either. All right, so here's our garage. So if you notice, the breaker box was usually right here. It is not. It will now be placed right here. It's currently down in the basement, which we will get to. All right, so we have our little light here that we can mess with. We cannot mess with anything else over here. The fridge and the freezer open and close. You can open and close the grill. You can't light it or turn it on. Hold on, let me get rid of that. That I've seen, but I don't know. You can't move the charcoal. You can move the tongs. The freezer doesn't open or close, and then you can't mess with anything right here. You can mess with these little weights. That's about it. We have a fan that'll pivot back and forth. You can't. Oh, you can. So sometimes you can pick these up and other times you can't. I'm sure, obviously, there's going to be bugs. You can mess with all of this little. Excuse me, we are doing a house tour. I'm not going to show the basement. Okay. It was very rude. Okay. Okay, like I said, we have all our oil that we can mess with. We can't mess with anything else right here. This will turn on and off. And then you have your little bell with the bike, which is cool. The car, obviously. The lawnmower turns off and on. None of this you can interact with. These two tools you can, or three, sorry, four you can interact with. Not the buckets. You can mess with that. Your next cursed object is going to be in here. It is going to be the monkey paw. So voodoo doll, monkey paw are have traded places. You can mess with this. Mess with this stuff. There's a drill that you can mess with, which is pretty cool. You can mess with the little staple gun. I think that's what that is. And you can't interact with that. Here is our locker. So And then we still have, I don't know if we had this much vision in the locker. I think we did, but that pretty much stays the same. Drill you can mess with. So, and then the buckets you cannot mess with. So this is everything inside of the garage. All right, let's move on to the kitchen. Here's our lovely kitchen. Super cute. So we have some food here that we can interact with. It's rotted. Can mess with this stuff. The detail is crazy. Oh, here's our little potato. All right, so we have a little potato. We have our little cookies, our fans. I think almost all of these can open. The drawers can't, obviously. The oven doesn't open. Okay. Let's see. We can't... Oh, we can mess with these. Okay, just those. Can mess with the book. There's a little egg timer where if you right click, it will start counting or timing. What is that? Is that mayonnaise? Maybe. Cereal we can mess with. Or butter. Okay, nice. Butter dish, knife. I like the details on the cutting board. Okay. These you can't open. So that's unfortunate. You can turn on. There we go. You can turn on and off the gas stove, which is cool. You can mess with all of this. You can take the knife out of the butcher block. Is that what it's called? A butcher block? I don't know. Okay. That's cool. Paper towels you can mess with. Scissors. You can't mess with the sink in here, though. Or these dishes. So. There's that. Let me see. There's our freezer. And our fridge. Nothing in it. You can take all of these little magnets off. Where'd it go? Oh, it went in there. I like the sound. My grandma had these exact fruits on her wall, or on her fridge. So that's cool. Alright, and then across from the kitchen is now our dining room. I was a little disappointed that we are not able to interact with the door or go outside. That was a little disappointing, but, you know, it is what it is. We can interact with the boots, though, which is nice. And then nothing else. Right there. Here's our dining room. I have some dog bowls. Not as much stuff. Well, no. Actually, we have more things on the dining room table now. So it seems like everything on here is interactable except the radio. So that's cool. Again, our bushes. We can't interact with anything out here or outside, but that's okay. Our lamp. We have tissue. This stuff to mess with. We have a pot, and then none of the other stuff we can mess with. So, all right, that is our dining room, and now we are moving into the final part of the house, which is the basement. Everyone has a lot of mixed reviews on this basement. I think it's pretty cool. It adds another looping spot. So when we come down the stairs, you are greeted with your box if it shows up here and not the garage. And then when we come in here, oh, our train's already going. And this is the ghost room. So That's nice. And he turned off our light. So there's not a lot to interact with on the shelves. Obviously, there's little things that you can mess with. Um, this you can mess with. The drill. You can open the fridge and there's some beer bottles. You can mess with the... Oh, something happened. Hold on. All right. So now our summoning circle and our Ouija board are both going to be in the basement like before, but very close together and in different spots. So there is that. You can mess with the stuff on here. You can pick up the tools and the fan, which is pretty cool. And then this little stuff you can mess with as well, which is nice. So there's lots of stuff to interact with and to create piles of things for like pulkies, which is pretty cool. And then here is our train set. So this button will cause the train to choo-choo. This button right here causes the train to move. This one right here turns the houses on and off like the lights, which is pretty cool. And then this one, you can blow steam out of the train. Let's see if I can show you. Alright, so that is our little train, which I think is super cute. You can mess with the donut and the mug right here. Again, Ouija board summoning circle. And then now there is a hiding spot under the stairs. You come around here. Hiding spot, which is very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, there's a little fridge that you can open down here. This is great looping, especially if you have lights on, because that way you can duck down and you can see, like, if you get a crawler, you'll be able to see it. You won't have to use sound for that to see where they are. So yeah, this is the new Tanglewood Rework. All right, you guys, that is the walkthrough through the new Tanglewood Rework. I really like this map. It's very cozy. We went through and we found where all the new spots for the cursed items are, and we went through the whole house. We went through all of the objects that we can move throughout the house and went through a couple of new interactions that we can now record. So I'm very excited and I hope you guys are too. I know a lot of people are disappointed, which, you know, is bound to happen. They can't make everybody happy, but yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you didn't like the map, leave a comment and tell me what you don't like about it. And if you feel so inclined, if you could subscribe to my channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I stream on my Twitch account and I post all of my VODs here on YouTube. So if you want to follow my Twitch, you can find me at SpookyxQueen. The link will be in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in my next video.